A very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Talal Marikka, and today we're here with a well-esteemed guest, Nishshanka De Silva, the founder of ZeroPlastic Movement. He has led over 11,000 volunteers since 2021, who also has a background as a tech consultant for the last 20 years, and today he's here to speak about how his initiative has impacted thousands and thousands of Sri Lankans around the island. Ms. Nishshanka, it's a pleasure to have you here seated with us.
Thank you so much, Talal.
Over your course of time where you brought up the initiative, you decided from working in Virtusa for over 20 years, if I'm correct, you decided, I would love to lead an initiative such as this. And what was the idea that came into leading such a big movement? And tell us, what was your purpose here?
With ZeroPlastic. Yeah, it's something like this. It's early 2021, during the COVID period, that though I was a tech consultant, that I had enough time to relax. So one day I was looking at my own household and realized, Talal, we have become plastic people and we have become plastic nation. So much of plastic. Your broom is plastic, your cutleries are plastic, your flowers are plastic, your trees are plastic, your decorations are plastic. So all those plastic problem came into my mind, and then I wanted to address the problem. So from the tech background, while I have my own web designing company, so having that web designing work going on, then I wanted to have an e-commerce platform to promote plastic alternatives. So that's where we started with ZeroPlastic in early 2021.
So Nishshanka, as the founder of ZeroPlastic Movement, you had over 11,000 volunteers fighting against the same cause that you decided to fight for at that time. How did you manage to get everyone to cultivate the similar mindset you had to fight against plastic eradication?
Well, if somebody wants to volunteer, what exactly we did, Talal, we match, or the ZeroPlastic match its objective or its vision with the volunteerism. So everyone, including you, if you do volunteerism, you are doing volunteerism because of two things. One is the passion. The other one is to uplift your skill, to find your better version. So all I did, so we had the vision and objectives for ZeroPlastic Movement. We connect that vision or the objectives into the volunteerism and set up ZeroPlastic clubs. So each and every club had its own pillars or the objectives to work on, and then they do volunteerism. The volunteerism in the context of the plastic problem. So if you look at our ZeroPlastic clubs across all the universities, so what they are doing is they are doing volunteerism, but the objective or the boundaries that they are supposed to work is what our vision. So then they are working for their benefits, and it's at the end of the day becoming the ZeroPlastic vision. So that's how we matched everyone to work on one single mission.
So being a founder of such a great initiative, one of the largest movements that we have seen, did you ever come to a point where you had a certain amount of doubt in whether this is going to work in the future, whether people accept this?
To be honest, I had no doubt about ZeroPlastic Movement or its impact. I had no doubt at all. Reason, if you look at the prediction for the next 50 years, it is the climate change and the plastic problem. So plastic problem is not going to solve for another 50 to 100 years time minimum. Even if you stop plastic today from entire world, the damage caused by the microplastic will last for another 100 to 100 years. So we were very clear that whatever the action we are going to take as the ZeroPlastic Movement will make an impact. But to be honest, I had one doubt on certain things. That is because if you look at ZeroPlastic Movement, the name itself says zero plastic. So we had a doubt whether the government and the corporate will support us, will back us. Because as a non-profit, it is always, we need kind of a support to thrive or to work on our own objectives. So that was the initial doubt that I had, not the impact. Impact, it was very clear, it was very well documented and very well planned. And we had a very serious concern about whether the government is going to support or not. whether the corporate is going to back us or not. Do you need the answer? Answer is they didn't support. So that's the only concern that I had. But if answering your question, there were no doubt on the impact. It was very clear, crystal clear.
Straight-minded, clear, crystal vision, and
Crystal
just took
clear.
it from there. Today, where it is, it's one of the biggest movements that there is. And if you had the power, let's say, to pass a law on the sustainability of Sri Lanka, what is something you would initiate?
Okay, good question. Talal, as the largest environmental movement, we have a social power. I can ground all the universities at any given point for a particular cause. If I have a power to change one single law, there are many, there are few, but one, it is EPR, Extended Producer Responsibility. I think that I should explain a little bit about EPR. EPR mean, producer responsible for the plastic that they produce. Say for example, if you buy PET water bottle, the PET water bottling company is responsible to collect it back. Remember the old golden days that we keep some sort of money and bring the glass bottle back and take that money. That's, I don't say it is very similar, but there are some similarities that people who sell plastic products, they need to collect it back. Government will declare how much to be collected, whether it is 50%, whether it is 100%, whether it is 20%. So if you look at Sweden, Japan, Denmark, even India, they have adopted EPR policies. Here we have EPR, it is voluntarily. If you like, you can do, if not, that's fine. So we are now, we run a huge campaign across all the universities to make it compulsory, make it mandatory. So EPR needs to be mandatory, so we are fighting for that. And if I can add another law, if I can change one other law, most people don't know this, Talal. If there's any violation in the context of the plastic, say plastic cutleries are banned now, you can't use it. Lunch sheets are banned now, you can't use it. Say if you just walk 10 meters away from Barista, you can find lunch sheet, shopping bag, plastic cutleries, plastic straws and anything. But the problem is police or the legal, let's say police, they can't raid such incident. The power is it's entitled to Central Environment Authority only. So if I have second chance to change another law, I will give the authority to the police station or the police department, they can raid any such violations. If you can do these two, 50% of the plastic problem will be solved here in this country. So that's the two things that I want to change, EPR and giving the authority to the police stations.
So you really thought about in terms of like when you explain EPR and even the vendors that currently give out the sheets and the plastic cutlery to eat and all, and you say if the law was implemented, 50% of that will be gone and that would make for a more sustainable country.
Well, most of plastic that we use, we don't want. Just look at our household. Just look at the decoration that in the outside, that there are so many single-use plastic we use, we don't want. Do you need shopping bags? You can take a reusable bag. Do you need the water bottles? Very rare. You can have your own water bottle. 99% of water bottle here in Sri Lanka having microplastic in it. So you are killing yourself. So do you need lunch sheets? Lunch sheets, Sri Lanka is the only country using lunch sheets. You can't find lunch sheets anywhere in this world. You get my point? Do you need a straw? When you drink water at your home, do you use a straw? You don't. So then why do you use at fast food chains? So I think, let me add a little bit about the EPR, Talal. That the government will define how much to be collected. It is not 100%. Even if you look at right now, voluntarily it is 40%. Even, I can't say the name, the bigger beverage companies are exceeding 70% of collection now, right now. So I think going for somewhere around 40 to 50% collect back percentage would work and it will be sustainable, definitely. Uganda banned plastic in 2008. So that's the best case study. In 2008. We are here in 2025 challenging whether it is possible or not.
You say a lot of corporations, a lot of vendors, and although all over the world it's been come to a halt, in Sri Lanka we are still proceeding to take action on whether it is a good cause to take action with, and I think that comes down to the mindset. And you speak a lot about mindsets, so if Sri Lankans were to unlearn something, or you wanted them to unlearn something fast, what would it be?
Plastic is bad. They think plastic is good. I need them to unlearn plastic is good. Second, avoiding buying plastic products for their day-to-day life. If you look at 95% of Sri Lankan use plastic broom. Every time you use plastic broom, it produces microplastic. So your kids breathe in microplastic from grade 1. So plastic is bad, but if you look at Talal in Sri Lankan context, most people think plastic good. Why? It is cheap, it is reliable. So people like us, I mean Sri Lankan, they always make buying decisions based on how cheap the product, how reliable the product. Plastic meets it 100%. So I need people to unlearn plastic is good. Plastic is not good. Plastic is very bad. Plastic is bad for your health. It's bad for the environment. It's bad for the wildlife. Just tell me one single road you can't find plastic. Every road, every tourist destination, every waterways, every beaches, you find ton of plastic. And that become microplastic, and through the food chain, you get microplastic back. 30 years old, average men having 50,000 microplastic particles in the body. I'm sure you are having at least 25,000 particles in your body. So that's the level of the problem. So I need people to understand plastic is bad and recycling is a myth. Those are the two things. Recycling is a myth. So those are the two things that I need. Please, I need you all to unlearn. If I have time, I can explain a little bit about. Let me explain why recycling is a myth. It is made by multinational businesses to sell their product. I'm not going to tell the world's largest polluters. You all know the names. So they wanted to sell their product because those products comes in plastic. So they wanted to make a story. The story is recycling. If you recycle a glass bottle 1,000 times, 1,001 equal to virgin glass. If you recycle an aluminum bottle 1,000 times, 1,001 equal to virgin aluminum. If you recycle a PET bottle, every time it degrades 25%. So after 3 times it becomes microplastic, you can't do anything. You can't do anything. It will end up in the environment as a microplastic, in the soil, in the water, and in the air. You breathe it, you eat it, and you kill yourself. So that's the problem with plastic. If you look at Sri Lankan context, now we are talking about recycling. Here we recycle just 4%. Sri Lanka doesn't produce any plastic. We pay dollars and bring down plastic pebbles and then produce each and every household item, including the decorations, in plastic, right? 2 things happen. We pollute the environment and we kill local entrepreneurship. You don't see now, you don't buy cane products. You don't buy coconut coir products. You just buy plastic products. So what happens if you recycle a plastic bottle? What's the product made out of that recycling? Tell me one. It's a broom in plastic or the bathroom brushes. That's all. Plastic bottle become a brush. Every time you brush, what will happen? It produces microplastic to the soil, to the waterways. Just imagine how much of microplastic in the environment, how much of microplastic in the soil, how much of microplastic in the waterways. So recycling is not the answer. If you look at the global numbers, entire world only recycle 9% of plastic. 9% of plastic. 91% of global plastic is in the environment. If you look at in Sri Lankan context, 96% of plastic that we use daily basis ends up in the environment. That's why we are telling recycling is a myth. But when you look at that, you feel that like, we are recycling everything. We only recycle PET bottle. Again, it is just 28% PET bottle. All plastic, it's 4%. You see the gravity of the problem. So that's why we always want people to unlearn plastic is good. You need to unlearn, and recycling is good. Please unlearn. Recycling is a myth made by multinational businesses.
Nishshanka, as a community-based initiative, there is obvious understand that there is support needed, right? So have there been any government officials or brands that like shocked you with the amount of support they put into this, or like the ones that you assumed would but didn't?
Do you want me to give the real truth?
Can be as honest as you could.
Okay. So I was shocked looking at the inefficiency of the government officials, especially the Ministry of Environment and the Central Environment Authority. Inefficiency, corruption, bureaucracy. You tell anything about not to do the work, they have everything for that. So they are daily basis, they are shocking us with inefficiency. If you want to have another shocking support, so we have received so much of support from international corporations, not local corporations. That's another shocking story. We are clearly operating in Sri Lankan soil. We are doing the impact in Sri Lankan context, but the biggest support that we have received and we are receiving is from the international bodies, not local corporations. So it's really funny, right? So government is not making anything, especially the Ministry of Environment and the Central Environment Authority, and the other side, the corporations. So it always makes us a shock.
One would think, right, the government of the country would put in 100% efficiency into supporting an initiative like yours, especially the fact that not only does it help the people, it also helps the country, it also sustains it over the years for generations to come, and shockingly, you had more support from international officials than the local officials.
Correct. I can take you so many examples, Talal. If you want to do a beach cleanup, you need to get permission from 3 government officials. You need to write a letter, you need to visit them, you need to hand over them, and you need to follow them and get their approval. For what? Just to clean a beach. Why? So that's what I call, so much of red tapes, so much of inefficiency. It's so challenging, but I'm really proud. ZeroPlastic have no dependencies with the Environment Ministry, no dependence with any corporation. We are pretty much independent. We are self-sustained, and we will be thriving in coming years.
So Nishshanka, as the founder of ZeroPlastic Movement, during your starting days of creating this initiative, there must have been a point where you hit a couple of obstacles when you were trying to, as a non-profit, seeking the support from the people or from the officials, local officials or international officials. Whenever you got pushed back down, whenever you got discouraged, or let's say you reached a burnout factor, as humans we all do, what was the one rule that kept you going? What was the one thing that kept you going on?
Superb question, Talal. Throughout the movements, we had so much of discouragement, so much of disappointment. Me as a man, I always have one rule. Whatever the discouragement, the first thing that I do, I ignore whether it is a person, whether it is a corporation, whether it is particular case or the scenario. My first reaction, I completely ignore the entire scenario. and I stop connecting, I basically forget entire story for a period of time until that discouragement come as encouragement. Let me take you an example. Early 2021, when we start ZeroPlastic, one of big corporate made us really disappointed. So they said your name itself is wrong. And then so much of disappointment, they made us, they basically made me down to the ground. I think it was my second or first meeting with corporate. So at that time we decided we are not going to worry about it. We keep doing whatever we were doing right. And after 3 years, they came back 4 times. They wanted to cooperate with us with a huge funding. I refused. So my philosophy is if somebody discourage you, the first thing that you need to do, ignore entire scenario. Whether it is a person, whether it is a corporation, whether it is a particular environment. The first thing that I do personally and as the movement, we completely ignore the scenario. We don't keep any contacts. We don't look at the problem. You know, we always move on with so much of other things because we have so much of projects going on and we have so much of activities across the country. We have enough work to look at. So discouragement or the disappointment, we just leave it, them to come back. So I have one philosophy, Talal, be so good where others can't ignore you. So they made us discouraged or they made us disappointed because of a reason. So let them wait and see and keep doing the right thing that you do. And one day, they will come back with very much encouragement. I'm experiencing that right now. So early, if I look at 2021, 2022, so much of disappointment. Because the ZeroPlastic, you know, we were learning how to make its bigger movement. You know, we had no experience doing that. I'm from a tech background. So people who were, you know, in the top of such engagement, they basically made us down. But right now we have position somewhere, they wanted to partner with us. So that's what, in simple, discouragement will become encouragement one day. Do good things, ignore the scenario, that's the whole thing.
I love that you're so, how do I say this? You're so solution oriented. Like as a human being, you walk out with an idea, right? That idea is your crystal ball and it can crack easily. And you go out there and a big corporation puts you down. Yet you held up strong willingly because you knew something that they didn't. Being a big corporation, a lot of people can easily be like, okay, maybe they have a point. But you knew that there was a fine line between constructive criticism and discouragement. And you knew that they were just discouraging you and you had a brighter vision than what their words were. So the fact that you said ignore the noise and focus on the solution is something that brings me to my next question. If you were to describe your future with this movement in one sentence, what would it be?
We want to see the environment without plastic. We want to zero plastic environment and zero impact to the human health from microplastic. Those are the two things that ZeroPlastic is based on. It's not we are against plastic. We need plastic. My watch, if you look at it, has plastic, component of plastic. So our philosophy is zero plastic to the environment, zero microplastic to the human. So in one world, we want to see Sri Lanka is Asia, South Asia cleanest country. So then one of key things that we are working on.
You said you had 20 years of experience as a tech consultant in the background and being part of Virtusa. 20 years into the tech industry, has it ever come in as an advantage to your initiative where you were like, this is about to help me a lot to make my initiative maximize in terms of volunteers, this and that?
Talal, if you see ZeroPlastic as a successful movement or a successful organization, I would say 75%, no, 50% of success behind technology. We use so much of technology that I can challenge none of non-profit are using right now here in this country. So we use all the cutting edge technologies to manage our volunteers, their activities, even volunteer registrations to assigning a task and managing performance and looking at the KPIs, matching to that KPIs into the corporate objectives, and then to the vision is linked one by one. If there's a project happening in Peradeniya right now, the impact numbers that they are reporting from there, it will be displayed in the dashboard and aligned with the total objectives or the KPIs that I can see on my screen. So that much of technology, and entire operation is on cloud. And we have ZeroPlastic app. Every volunteer, say for example, we have 11,000 volunteers. So the biggest challenge was at early stage, people need volunteer certificates. They come to one project and request a volunteer certificate. So it was so challenging, I can't say no, and again I can't say yes, because I have so much of volunteers who have contributed thousands of hours. I have a volunteer, she has participated almost 70 ground projects, not online projects, ground projects. So we have ZeroPlastic app Talal, it's very tricky app. So let's say there's a beach cleanup here, location Barista Navala. So the app will, you need to check into the app. The check-in button will be enabled in the location only. So you can't check in from somewhere else, you have to be here. And then if the project lasts for 2 hours, they get 100 marks. After 2 hours, there will be another button, check out, that again will be appear after 2 hours and in the same location only. If you work away from just 50 meters, the button will disable. So they need to check in the location and check out in the location, and then only they get marks. If they delay to log in, and then the marks will be deducted according to the delay time. If they leave earlier, again the marks will be deducted according to the time. So, and then that numbers accumulated in the app, you can see how much of total mark that you have accumulated. Based on that, you become hero volunteer or a superhero volunteer and the legendary volunteer. So it's a national awards across, the award ceremony happen across all the universities in, it's a massive event, it's basically a national event. So likewise, our volunteer engagements are digitalized, and we have a e-learning platform to educate the other software skills for the volunteers, and we have technology to manage our tasks and operations, and entire operation is on cloud. So much of thing we use,
And it's very interesting because people think a community-based initiative, and they think about the back end and they're like, oh, all right, maybe they gathered clubs, people and all this together, but you had a lot of back end work in the tech to get that cutting edge technology into the nonprofit to make it a very digitalized platform, make it easier to access. So let's say there was a volunteer out here that's eager to join ZeroPlastic Movement. What advice would you give to them before they enter, and what would you look for from them?
If they want to join it ZeroPlastic, number one, we don't charge anything. It's completely free, but we will definitely take your time and effort. If you don't have time and the mindset to put into a work, don't come. So every volunteer that we work with, they have to spend so much of time and doing some work. That's the key thing, that volunteerism is good to uplift your skills. When you do a project Talal, you learn a lot of things. You network with the people, you learn the project management, you gain skill for the team management or the team leading, team skills, and then the decision making. There are so much of things you are getting for free. Why? You have to put your time and effort. So number one, if you want to volunteer, make sure that you have time and the mindset to do something. And second, it's easy. If you want to work with ZeroPlastic, go to our website and we have online registration. If not, anyone, they can just download ZeroPlastic app from App Store or the Play Store and install. We have listed down all the projects happening all the month. You can just check in. You need to first show interest, and then you need to check in on the location. So it's very easy, it's very digitalized, there's no registration form, nothing. Just download the app, be there and be a part of the project. Once you have the mark, 1,000 marks, the certificate will be issued.
And it's lovely, right? You get to be part of a similar group of people, individuals with a similar mindset or objective as you do for once, rather than always being on your own task. For once, if you join ZeroPlastic Movement, you get to be with people who have the same initiative just as you to create a better island for the people. And that takes me to our last question, Nishshanka. What's your mental brew when you're facing now? Obviously, changes take time. Changes take time, and you, someone who's very well experienced in this, you know changes take time, and sometimes time can frustrate you because you want things to be done in a certain way and a certain pace. What is your brew mentally when things take time and when you have to face the frustration of it?
Yeah, Talal, it's like in the previous question as well. The very first thing that I do when I feel like, it's so stressed, so concerned, I distract from the particular scenario. That's the first thing. And, the other one that I do, spending time with my 2 daughters. It gives me the energy, it gives me the hope, and it gives me the mindset that I need to make a change to this country. Third, though I am having downtime or the stress or the burnouts, Talal, that one thing I need to remember. 11,000 volunteers working daily basis. They are fighting against the plastic problem. So sometimes there are projects that totally depend on my say. So I can't take so much of time and be in a relaxing mode, not responding to the volunteers or our club's operations. So that's why I implement so much of technology into the process. So my key thing, implementing the process. So answering your question in short, so spending the time with family and having a cold beer, that makes me also, settled.
Peace.
Yes, peace of mind. Having a beer. I start my day somewhere around 6 a.m. in the morning. I end up in the 12 midnight.
Wow.
I sleep in the evening 3 to 4 or 4:30 every day. This is my sleeping time. 3 to 4:30 I sleep every day. I start 6 a.m. and continuously work till 2:30 and then lunch. And 3:30 I sleep, and again 4:30 I start workout and kind of a playtime with my kids. And again 6 p.m. I start in the night shift and I work till 12 midnight. That's all my plan. So if there's any situation that I feel burnout, I stop my work. Then I repeat the work that I was sharing with you, plus a cold beer. Sorted.
But we are still glad to have you, and it's a pleasure to have someone like you leading the largest movement in Sri Lanka and creating an initiative in the mindsets of especially the younger generation to make a move and stand up and do what's right. If people aren't allowing it, do it anyways, because if you know it's for the good, push forth. And as you did, and now you have one of the largest movements, Nishshanka, it's a pleasure to sit here with you and discuss this with you. And good luck with your future and future endeavors. We're all here to support you. If there's one thing you could tell to the people out there, what would you say?
Thank you so much, Talal, for giving me the opportunity. I need to tell one thing. At one point in a TV station, they all of suddenly asked me a question. The question was whether the Nishshanka is doing this for taking kind of popularity. That was the question, right? Without prior notice, they asked this question. So then I very honestly answered. Then I said, Talal, if everyone of Sri Lankan is doing something good, thinking that they get a popularity, it is good. Just imagine you are doing something for betterment of the social media. If you are doing something good, it is good. So every one of you are doing a small action, what we call good, and our objective is to get some sort of popularity or maybe a social media reach, that's fine. So my last request to the audience, if you want to do something, ignore all the comments, forget everything, do the good. Doing something good is always good. No matter whether what you expecting, whether you are expecting your social media reach or the popularity or some sort of benefits, it's secondary. What you have done is good. Good is always good. That's all.
And just so that you couldn't have heard it better other than from Mr. Nishshanka, thank you very much everyone. I'm your host Talal Marika. Have a great day.